What's going on, guys? Scar coming at you with another Magic the Gathering video. Today's video, we dive into Budget Orzhov, voted on you guys as being actually the most popular budget deck in my budget deck video. If you haven't checked that out, I did make a video on 4 different budget decks, and Budget Orzhov Angels was one of the decks that you guys voted to be the deck I made a video on. With that being said, guys, if you like the video, hit that like button. Definitely helps out a lot. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button so you get notified when I post new videos on the channel. But let's dive into the deck and let's talk about it. Alright, so first and foremost, this is my Budget Orzhov Angels deck. I will say I did make a couple tweaks since the last time I posted the deck list, which I will update, and there will be a link for this down in the description below with the updated changes. But essentially what I did is I added some more spot removal that was a little bit more friendly for the mana, just because I was running into an issue with Poison the Cup, sometimes being awkward if I didn't have double black and I really needed a removal immediately, instead of having to wait and foretell it and play it that way and spend a little bit of additional mana. But other than that, the deck remains pretty much the same. So the overall idea here is we are playing Angel Tribal on a budget. We do play 4 rares in the deck as a whole. We are playing a card that came from Kaldheim called Rallying the Ranks. Essentially what this does is when we play it on the battlefield, we can name a creature type. We typically choose angels, and creatures of that chosen type get +1/+1. So that is kind of like one of our ways to kind of bolster our offense when it comes to attacking in with our angels. With that being said, we'll talk about a couple of the cards in the deck and kind of go over what they kind of do and how they interact. But first and foremost, we'll start off with Bloodchief's Thirst. I just added 2 copies of this. It's a card from Zendikar Rising. It's a very good removal spell for 1 mana that can destroy target creature or planeswalker with a mana cost of 2 or less for 1 mana. We can kick it for 4 mana, and we can destroy any pretty much creature or planeswalker. So in the early game, it's good for those aggressive decks, and in the later game, it can get rid of those bigger creatures that just get kind of in your way. So overall, I feel like this is an okay card to add a couple copies of in the deck. That's not going to slow it down in any way. And we don't really have any 1-drops, so it's okay to have this as a possibility of playing something on turn 1 if our opponent's on the play and they're being very aggressive. Next card up is Glass Casket. I did cut 2 of these back to add in some removal. I did have 4 copies of this, but it kind of felt clunky in games where it was a little bit slower, just because it only targets things that are converted mana cost 3 or less creature wise. So in the later game, it kind of isn't as effective, especially if our opponent isn't as creature intensive. So I just cut this back to 2 just to kind of be like, okay, let's add some more removal in this space. Then we got Rallying the Ranks, 4 copies to kind of boost our angels up, so our angels are that much harder to get rid of, as well as they attack in that much more aggressively. So that is one of the cards we did there. Youthful Valkyrie is, I think, an overall very good Valkyrie for 2 mana. It's a 1/3 flyer, but whenever another angel enters the battlefield under our control, we get a +1/+1 counter on Youthful Valkyrie. So in the early game, we want to play her first, and then kind of slowly build up our angels, and she'll get bigger and bigger. Even without Rally the Ranks, she's a pretty decent card. 1/3 body is pretty good for 2 mana. We added 2 copies of Heartless Act, just because I think Heartless Act is one of the better 2 mana removal spells in the meta at this time. It's a 2 mana destroy target creature with no counters on it, or we can remove 3 counters from target creature. The goal here, though, is to kind of, just spot removal things without counters on it for 2 mana, and instant speed is definitely very good. Then we just go up with Starnheim Aspirant. She essentially, for 3 mana, makes all our angels spells cost 2 less to cast. Since our deck is primarily angels, she's just helping us get things out on the board cheaper, which also in hindsight, which I learned kind of after playing a few games and playing her out, she actually makes the foretell cost of the angels cost cheaper as well. So if you have a foretell cost of 4 mana, she'll make it cost 2 mana instead. So that's actually something to be of relative note, because that's actually, I guess, part of the casting cost. So that's actually pretty cool there. Then we got Renegade Reaper, 3 copies of him. He's a 3 mana 2/3 with flying. When he enters the battlefield, we mill 4 cards. If we milled at least 1 angel card, we get to gain 4 life, so a little bit of life gain. Pretty cool there, I think, overall, for a budget 2/3 flyer. Not too bad. Then we dropped down 2 copies of Poison in the Cup. Like I said, it just felt a little clunky in certain situations, just trying to foretell it and then set up for future spell. But I think it's better just to play it on the early as well. But we minimized the copies, and we added some other removal to kind of make up for it. But the idea here, destroy target creature. If this spell was foretold, we can scry 2 as well, which is definitely beneficial for us because it also fixes up the mana. Stalwart Valkyrie is the next 4-drop. It's a 3/2 flyer for 4 mana, but the benefit here is if we have creature cards in our graveyard, which Renegade Reaper helps us get creature cards in our graveyard, by us milling ourselves, we can tap 2 mana instead and play for that cost instead, which is pretty cool. So if we don't have any creature cards in our graveyard, it's a 4 mana 3/2, but if we have a creature card, it's a 2 mana 3/2, which I think overall is a little bit better, but pretty cool regardless, just for the cost and being a common as well. Then we got Vengeful Reaper. It's a 4-mana 2/3 with foretell. So we can set this up for a later game. Has Flying, Death Touch, and Haste, which I think is actually pretty cool and pretty good. You know, we can set it up on a turn, wait till the following turn, foretell it, and then get a 2/3 flyer that immediately attacks in or sits back and becomes a blocker, just because Death Touch is actually fairly strong as long as our opponent doesn't have like something like First Strike and is able to do the damage and kill this creature before it actually hits them back for more damage. So overall, pretty good card. 4 copies of that card in the deck. Then we got Rampage of the Valkyries. It's a 5-mana spell. It enters the battlefield. We get to create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying and vigilance. And then whenever an angel we control dies, each other player sacrifices a creature. So it makes it definitely very awkward for our opponent to want to attack into us and kill our creatures in any way, because every time they kill one of our creatures, we're making them sacrifice a creature in response. It's kind of weird in a deck when someone's not playing a lot of creatures, but if our opponent's playing very aggressive, which a lot of the meta is kind of aggressive at the moment, we'll do like a 2-for-1 or something like that if we also get to block into a creature and also kill that creature in the process. Then we have Firja, Judge of Valor. It's a 5-mana 2/4. I'm not 100% sure sold on this one, just because sometimes when we get to this point in the game, we don't really have a lot of cards in our hand. But her ability here is whenever we cast a second spell each turn, look at the top 3 cards of our library, put one of them into our hand, the rest into our graveyard. So she has like a mill ability, but we get to kind of like dig a little bit deeper. Our deck doesn't really have any card draws, so this is like the best thing we have to get in kind of a little bit deeper into our deck as quickly as possible. So an okay ability overall, but it's kind of sometimes clunky just because sometimes we don't have a lot of things to play at this point. And then we round this up with Shepherd of the Cosmos. It's a 6 cost creature that's a 3/3 flyer. But when it enters the battlefield, we get to return target permanent card that costs 2 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. So that actually is pretty interesting too. We can return creature cards, we can turn lands, we can return something like a Glass Casket if that gets milled into our graveyard. So there's some pretty interesting things we can do there. And we can also foretell her for 4 mana. Which is also pretty good, so we can get it out a little bit cheaper. We can set it up, you know, if any of our, like, if we are Rally the Ranks, Glass Casket, Youthful Valkyrie end up in the graveyard at any point. Also, Evolve Wilds, if we want to dig a little bit deeper for more mana, we can always reoccur those and add it back into the battlefield, which essentially helps us just kind of ramp up that little bit quicker. So overall, this is kind of the deck. We're going to dive into some games, kind of see how it does. In my experience, like I said, I think the only thing that I've kind of felt was an issue with the deck is kind of like we kind of get to a point and we kind of run out of cards. And if our opponent's able to keep on, you know, ramping or having good tempo when it comes to drawing cards, we kind of fall behind in that way, which is definitely hard to get out of. But let's kind of see how we do and have fun while doing it. All right, so our opponent's on the play. I actually don't mind our hand. Our hand's actually pretty good. We have a pretty decent curve. We have Youthful Valkyrie, we have Rally the Ranks. We have a decent amount of spells. We don't have any removal, so hopefully our opponent's not too aggressive, but we'll keep. All right, they're playing something with black mana, so we're just gonna play that tapped, do another land, which is okay. I do have sometimes the weird thing is sometimes we don't draw enough land, and then sometimes we draw too much land with this deck. So it's gonna be definitely interesting to see how this is gonna work out for us. But I think what we do here is, can we play Rally? Part of me wants to play the Youthful Valkyrie, get on the battlefield, see if there's any removal. And then next turn we can always play Rally, or we can play another Angel. So we'll kind of see how this works, because the benefit here is if we play another Angel, we can pump this up and it's going to do 2 damage. Alright, so they have that, which is... It's a little awkward for us just because it has Death Touch and it's only a 1/3, so it's definitely going to be able to eliminate this. So I think what we do here is we play another Youthful Valkyrie, and then we'll pump up that one, but we're not going to attack into a 1/3. They look like they're playing some sort of Golgari. It's probably Golgari Death Touch just based on the way it's playing, is my first assumption here. Just because Nighthawk Scavenger is a card that has Death Touch. Grim Dancer, they're probably going to give it Death Touch. Give it Menace, which is interesting. That's actually a good card for us. Heartless Act here is actually pretty good. So we could do something like do this for Angels. That's fine. We can then destroy target creature with no counters on it, which gets rid of the Nighthawk Scavenger. And then we can attack him for 5 in the air. They're gonna hit us back for 3, but it's okay. Next turn we can play something like, you know, Renegade Reaper or Vengeful Reaper. if we can get another counter on this other Valkyrie, it's going to make it hard for them to remove it if they have something like Heartless Act in their deck. Though they do play something like Ram Through, which is a good card here. All right, they play Extinction Event for even. Nice. That's good for them. So we have a couple plays here. You can play this. You can play Vengeful Reaper. We could also just straight up kill their Grim Dancer. I think we do this, and then we also foretell the Vengeful Reaper. Alright, so we got a couple Angels, gain some life, so it kind of nullified it. So we'll kind of do that, and we'll kind of see how next turn plays out. Because next turn we can hit them for 6. Alright, so they're playing a lot of removal, which is okay. Alright, yeah. That's fine. I mean, I'll gain hopefully some life. You play this as well. Swinging for 3. We're not at a point though that we're running low on life because they only done X amount of damage to us. This also makes it awkward for them. They can't do something like Extinction Event because I think this is 3. That's 3. This is 3. This is 4. This is 3. So I don't know 100% what they're trying to do here. All right, that's fine. So they're gonna put something with yeah, that's what I figured. I could just do this and get rid of that, which slows them down. They're gonna block one. So we're in a very good spot here, though. If they do play anything that like removes things on the board, it's definitely gonna become kind of awkward for us. They're not hitting us too hard. I think we'll be able to out ramp them because they only have 2 creatures right now. I mean, they could play more Death Touchers for all I know. All right, I would have probably drawn if I was them in that situation, but that's just me. I'm gonna keep on being aggressive. Interesting. They don't want a card that's gonna help them draw a card. That is interesting, I think. Yeah, we'll just get rid of this angel. It doesn't really matter. That's the most expensive angel, so if we drew another one, it's not the worst. See, they can't now attack in with their Hooded Blightfang. They could now. I guess they have 2. We'll block their 1 Hooded Blightfang. Yeah, that's a good game on them. They drew a second one, which did not help us out there. We're on the play. This hand's pretty good, I think. We have Rally the Ranks. We have 3 mana. So yeah, I think this is an overall decent hand to go with. Opponent's not giving us any information on what they're playing, so kind of wait and see. So they are thinking about what they're gonna draw. So they've already mulliganed, I think, twice. So part of me thinks that they may be playing like the Tibble combo. Essentially what that deck is a deck that plays a card called, I forget what the Tibble card is, but it's a card that essentially counter a spell, and then you get to play something on the battlefield for like cheaper, which is like this weird combo. I don't know if I'll do a video on it. I don't really like decks like that are just like stupid, kind of like broken in a way when they do go off. But I mean, at the same time too, it doesn't always work. So at the same time too, I guess they only mulliganed once. It just looked like they piled their deck multiple times. All right. I guess we're playing some Death Touch. I guess Death Touch is the flavor of the night so far. I didn't run into this much Death Touch when I was playing earlier, so it's going to be quite interesting to see what we do here. So this one's playing Moss Viper. The last one we didn't see any like cheap Death Touchers other than the Vengeful Knight. But that just could be the way they drew. All right. We're going to block all of the Death Touchers we can, because if we don't, we're going to die to poison, because Finn gives things all poison counters, and if we get to 10 poison counters, we lose the game, so that's not going to be very good. I think this turn, though, we're going to take the turn off if this creature lives. And we're actually going to keep that out and then play 2 Vengeful Reapers. If it lives. I'll take the poison counters. We have 8 more poison counters and we get them 2 at a time. So it's definitely a very awkward situation for us there. See, this is that situation where it gets very awkward because I don't have a good way of dealing with playing Poison the Cup straight up because of just the way it works. We're not going to attack. We're going to sit back now because now they have to attack into us, which we actually have pretty good blockers here. We're going to be aggressive, but we're going to do this, and we're going to do this. I mean, hopefully they saw that my creature had Death Touch. They may have something to get something back, because that's what it seems like right now. Yeah, call it Death Dweller. They can put Death Touch counter and a Menace counter, I guess, on it. This is that situation, though, that we can now play Poison the Cup straight up out of our hand. I think that would actually be beneficial for us because it slows them down, though this is that situation where maybe we do this. We'll do the wait and see thing. I don't want to not have mana open for Poison the Cup here. So we're going to kill Finn. We're going to scry 2, which is going to help us here. No, we'll do it that way. Because we can play Rally the Ranks and whatchamacallit. And Beautiful Valkyrie. Alright, so if they don't draw a way to get back Finn, we're in a decent spot right now. And I think the best thing we can do here is keep all their Death Touch off the board. So they may not actually attack in they may not attack in. We're actually going to foretell this, just on the basis of we'll get back another thing. So if we get block here, we can get back to Youthful Valkyrie, kind of thing, which slows them down. I'm kind of curious if they're playing budget because I haven't seen any rares. That's fair. That's a good play. They're playing snow for that effect. Alright, we're going to foretell this. And we're going to return a Youthful Valkyrie. It does make their attack in the air a little awkward. Okay, they go for it. They may have something to give all their things protection, but I'm going to just kind of kill as many Death Touchers if they don't do anything, because I still have cards to play. Alright. That's fine. Okay, so they have a lot of Nighthawks. So what can we do in that situation? We don't have... I mean, I guess I could just play this straight up as Flying Death Touch, so that's a little awkward to attack into. If they draw removal, that's going to be bad. If we can get removal, that'll be good for us. I'm going to block one of those so I don't take as much, because I already have 9. That's a big draw right there. Get the Nighthawk Scavenger. We'll play Rally now. Since that's our only play anyway, we can't play Renegade Reaper. Kind of awkwardly not drawing mana, which kind of stinks. Archfiends, which is interesting here in a Death Touch deck. But I guess since they have recurring graveyard stuff, I guess that's okay. A part of me wants to play Renegade Reaper just to gain the life. Part of me also wants to play Valkyrie, though. Because Valkyrie would be a 2-3. I think Renegade Reaper, because we can also just kind of, like, sacrifice it, possibly. No Angel. And we missed a couple lands there, I think. Yeah, a couple lands. And another glass, and our only other glass casket. They're at a lot of life. Alright. That's fine. We can draw a mana. If we can draw like one more mana, we can play both cards in our hand, which we did. We'll play Youthful Valkyrie first. And then we'll play Renegade Reaper. We got an Angel. 10. Now they can't Heartless Act Youthful Valkyrie. Another Archfiends. Nice. I don't think they can only do 1 damage, so we'll just block that way. We'll take 1. They can pick out which one they want. We'll get rid of their only Death Toucher. Alright, this is that awkward point where we just all we do is draw lands. Alright, so they got their Nighthawk Scavenger back. That's an interesting play, I think. Because they could have gotten rid of the Rally, which I think is... I mean, if they get their little thing out, which I think they already have 2 in their graveyard, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. This is the only problem, like, because we get to this point where we have no cards in hand, so it's like we just got to top deck, and we got to find impactful cards, and there's a lot of cards in our deck that aren't impactful. Alright, Death Touch Rat. No tax. Alright, they already had Death Touch, but that's fine. Well, I guess our Team Vessel didn't have Death Touch. We'll block the Vessel. I don't think it really matters. Now, I think the big impact card that we could draw here would be something like... Not that Angel, but there's another Angel. The one that gets back something costs 2 or less, this one. We'll get rid of... One of you guys. I mean, there's a point where they may run out of steam, but it's just the Death Touch kind of is outweighing right now, like the effectiveness of our Angels. I think I'm actually gonna take the 1. It's not like we get poison. We'll keep an Angel out. Other Archfiends. Alright, that's something we can sacrifice to, like, one of their Death Touchers. Like I said, all I need is, like, no, I don't know. Block that way. We'll take 1 again. They have a draw spell. Oh, they have a spell to get it back. That's fine. It's just because we have something, I guess, that has Death Touch, so if they want to attack in, I guess. We're just hanging on by a thread right now. That's actually really good here. That is really, really good for us. No tax. Because now if they kill any of our Angels, we're going to make them sacrifice something in response, which is great. Burst is fine. It's yet again fine. Alright, we're going to 2 for 1 here. So you got to sacrifice something else. And now we can actually swing in without, like, worry that we can't block, like, the Luris. And this is where it also gets awkward. If they have, unless they have a way to kill our creature outright. Yeah. I mean, personally, I don't think they should attack us until they're ready to get wider than us. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Don't do it. Be smart about this. That's the one you want. For a second there, I was going to worry that they were going to kill our creature outright. Ooh. Well, I guess it doesn't matter, I guess, in that sense. It's either you're going to block it or take it. See, that's something that's like a high impact card, so us drawing 2 of those is pretty good there. So what they need to do here is they have to have more attackers than we do blockers. All right, you have a Death Toucher. Now my whole key here would be for this would be to draw like a nice would be to draw a removal spell. Like if we drew a removal spell here, I think that puts us in a good spot. The creatures gain Death Touch, which is not great for them, because I think this is awkward, because if they kill any, like 2 of our creatures, their whole board's gone. So they can't attack too aggressively here. So sacrifice 2 things. I'll take 4 poison. Land's not great, but gotta keep the pressure on. I don't know why you keep on getting Finn. That's probably not the card I would get. Gaining some life is great. There's our removal spell that I wish we had. Yeah, I mean, if we can just kind of keep this tempo up, we can out-tempo our opponent here. Second Finn's okay. I don't know why you'd play a second Finn. It's interesting. I guess just to play cards. Right, 18 cards here. So I don't really know what we got left. Oh, that's big right there. Let's swing in first, be aggressive. And then we'll play Angel. Our opponent can figure out how to get 1 point of damage through right now. We'll get rid of Luris, so this stops them from actually being able to play anything. Unless they had another Luris this whole time. That's 7. They can maybe play that Call the Death Dweller. Right? That's the card. That could be the card that would get maybe some of their Death Touchers back. An Arching Vessel. Get a 5/5. Did they already play all of them out of their graveyard though? I think they did. Okay, so they don't actually have a good 5/5. That's fine. This is where it gets awkward though, yet again. Just because they attack in, we can block, move the whole board. We'll attack him with 2. These blockers open. They have to block because this is lethal. It's just depending on which one you want to kill because you're going to get rid of one of your other things. You go up to 10. Sacrifice a creature now. I play this Valkyrie out, or yeah, and then yet again we're presenting lethal on board. That's 10 on board. Though they should attack. Personally, they should attack here. Put the pressure on me. Though once we kind of get the lifelink, it's okay. All right. All right. Our opponent's going first. I don't mind our hand, just because we have some spot removal. So, definitely slows down our opponent if they're aggressive. So this is actually not that bad. 3 mana is okay too. They have magic sleeves. Alright, so they're playing a deck that looks like they're going to be playing some sort of enchantment loop. So we'll just kind of thin our deck out a little bit. We have double black, so we'll get our second white. Which I think next turn, then that's something where we play maybe like something like Glass Casket. Depending on what they play following this, we could play something like Heartless Act. It could be something like Mono Black Devotion. Okay, that's something we're probably going to want to get rid of as well. But I don't think it's as bad right now, just because it's at the beginning of your end step, you may exile an enchantment card from your graveyard. So I think we Glass Casket the Hateful Eidolon. As much as that's a card draw mechanism, whenever they put an enchantment on something we control, if it dies, I think that's probably the premise of their deck. So I think that helps us kind of battle around that. We play something like Renegade Reaper next turn, which is then going to be able to block the Amphima. So if we take 2 here, it's not the biggest of deals. I guess they were thinking if they want to play that for life or not. There's a good chance that they may have spot removal. It is mono black of some sort. Yeah, so we don't want to play the Evolving Wilds just because we want to play that into play untap. So we'll play this, we'll play Renegade Reaper, which then can block their creature in the air. We'll mill 4 cards. Oh my god, all the Rally the Ranks. Alright, that's not great. There's a good chance they may have an enchantment to remove this, so that we're going to take damage one way or the other. But if we can keep the pressure up and making them having to play things on our creatures, it's not too bad. Yeah, that's what I assume was happening. They're going to probably remove this to get their little free card from Amphima. Alright, so our opponent's getting a little bit wider on us, which is not great. I may do this. I think we're going to do this. I'm going to pay this for 2. We'll get rid of you. I think we'll just leave mana open and kind of see how their turn sets up. So we can kill like something like Amphima, something that's annoying for us. Let's get rid of Amphima, just because that's a way for them to produce extra tokens. Since they were going to put a creature in the graveyard anyway. They got a lot of land, so that's fine. So going real big into in the deck out. They're going real big into trying to bolster their offense. So we'll play this. It can block their flyer. No attacks. Has Death Touch, which is a plus. Now if they drew a removal spell, a good top deck, I guess. I mean, I could be crazy and block their 2/2 and then block their 4/2 the following turn, so maybe I'll just do that. I mean, if they drew a removal spell to get rid of it for 1, it's fine. They drew a Scorpion. Alright, they're digging deep. Digging deep! No attacks. We'll sit back. We drew a lot of land. But we got 6 lands, 7 lands. Another Archfiends, that's fine. I mean, we do own removal, so we could have a good chance of getting that. I guess they want to go aggressive on this. Hey, let me just kind of, you know, pump up one single creature. So we're just gonna sit back with a removal spell because then we can scry. I could have played it straight up, but I don't think that's the way to do it. We'll do that to you. And then we'll just eat, I guess, the damage. Yes, we'll keep those 2 cards because I don't mind having more threats. And then Youthful Valkyrie gets pumped up, so that's always a plus. And then we can do something crazy and get back something like Rallying the Ranks with the Shepherd, so that's a plus. Alright, we got Amphima. So they're going to try to get wide on us. Or not. Yeah, we'll just play that straight upright. Pumps up that. We'll get Rally. We'll name Angels. And we'll say go. So even if they decide to put this on something, we have a pretty decent sized board that this is going to be okay. Plus, we already know that we're going to draw an Angel next turn. Alright, they got Luris. Which, you know what's really funny about this is that they remove their enchantments that actually could have been removal in this situation from the graveyard. No, I'll take one. They don't have any enchantments. They can get rid of their... So they won't. Alright, so I need something that's that thing that makes my opponent sacrifice things when creatures on my side die, I think. Now, I think what they could do here is they could play their Demonic Embrace on like their Gargoyle, which I think they played that wrong. Only kill one. That's fair. Alright, another bomb. Another bomb, please. I mean, they can get wider than me. Nope. That's a dud. I'm just gonna give up because I'm not feeling that I'm gonna get what I need. They could just swing wide. I just don't know why they didn't last turn because I was only at 6. So besides them having this, they could have swung wide with Luris, this, and that, like their whole board. I could have chumped everything. That's fine, but they have Luris to get it back, so it's like I don't really know why they didn't go ahead and just be aggressive. Because, you know, something like Serrated Scorpion, if I let that die, you know, I get 2 damage to gain 2 life. So it's like, it's one of those situations where I would have been a little more aggressive if I was them. Alright, we're on the play. Hand's a little bit on the expensive side, but, you know, it is. It is what it is. So we'll play the tap land into play tapped. No sleeves, so it's tough to say what they're playing. I'm gonna play the Evolve on Wilds. Let me get a second white, I believe is good here. Let's say go. Because then I double black and double white just because of the tap land. All right. Snow something. Oh, elves. Got it. Casket. Don't want them overwhelming us. We'll activate. I think we'll get another white source just because we have a black in our hand. This is actually looking okay for us so far. I'm getting ahead of myself though, but yet again, I think we're doing okay slowing them down. All right, so they're playing a snow mono green snow, which is actually not a bad deck overall. I do enjoy my Golgari snow deck that I did, but I think us playing Youthful Knight is good in that situation just because yet it's one of those things now that they could fight a creature of ours. If they don't, then we can take advantage of that next turn because we'll play an Angel, which would put a lot of our stuff out of range. All right, it's fine. But it looks like mono green snow of some sort. I'm gonna play Rampaging the Valkyries just because that helps us out. Buffs up our Valkyries. I'll swing him for 3. Just because we have one more creature than they do, so we can get a little more aggressive. This is where it gets awkward because if we kill anything of ours, they have to sacrifice in return. It's not destroy, they sacrifice, so it's one of those things that makes it very awkward for them, I think, to do something. What is his secondary ability? Tap 7, elves you control gain +2/+2 in Death Touch. Interesting. It's fine. I mean, they can swing it if they want to, which they won't. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind playing Youthful Valkyries for days, so that is a plus for me. We'll I don't think the graveyard, so we'll do this. We'll foretell this. I'm gonna swing him for 4 untapped because you know, can. I think they're looking to possibly destroy a creature, but yet again, it's very interesting what they have to do here. If they destroy a creature, they have to... Wait, did they lose next turn? It's 8, 11, 12. So they gotta play something to reach, or they're dead. I can actually take all this damage in this situation. I think they realize that. I have 2 angels in my hand as well, so it's like... I can pump up my Youthful Valkyries twice next turn if they kill one of my angels in the process. Our opponent's really on the think, though. Alright, sacrifice a creature, though. I mean, that's good for them, though, to do that. Now, the question is, do you want to attack in because you'll lose an angel? Or you can only have 1? Or no, those can be multiple. Okay. You don't have any open mana, so I don't know what you're doing. Oh, rallying the ranks is like real big. That is real big. Alright, they have yet to show us anything that could make this awkward for us. Alright, they're tapping a lot of mana. They have 6. They can have a total of 8 mana. What can they play for 8? That would be very effective here. I can't really think. They can play Great Henge. Great Henge is a thing. But Great Henge wouldn't be that expensive. Okay, so they play an elf. Maybe they're just gonna try to get as wide as possible, and then if they try to kill things of ours, they wouldn't have to sacrifice that much. Because I mean, essentially, they could sacrifice 4 tokens here. They have 5 mana open. Not sure why they tapped it the way they did. Because I mean, that also makes it awkward for them because they can only use that mana for what, creature spells and abilities. So it's like you tap down yourself from possibly playing other spells. See, that's very awkward. It's like, do you get rid of Rally or do you get rid of... Wait, did they not grab anything? When it enters the battlefield, you may exile a creature card from graveyard. Oh, they don't have any creatures in the graveyard. Oh. Darn. Well, that's pretty cool. Angel Tribal versus Elf Tribal. Pretty sweet. Alright, and we are back. So, I mean, overall, I think the deck isn't that bad. I think it's probably one of my better budget decks out of the ones I made. Just, I feel like it wins a little bit more just because of what it's trying to do. I think it can get pretty big pretty quickly. Though I do think it lacks, like, a lot of the budget decks just because lack of card draw to kind of keep the hand full is kind of the biggest issue there. Just because sometimes we get stuck in a way of drawing way too many lands and whatnot, which kind of stinks kind of in the late game when you're trying to top deck and look for that effective spell. But when we get the right spells out, it definitely creates an awkward situation for our opponent overall as a whole. With that being said, I'm going to move on to my upgraded version of the deck that I kind of went over and kind of talk about the things I added in to kind of go with the way I decided to go with for the Angel deck overall. Alright, so, I mean, overall, you can see the deck is slightly different in the way of what is in the deck. I'm not going to go over the cards that were already in the deck. I'm going to talk about what I added in as a whole. So let's just start in the lands. I added in Fabled Passages just because in the early game, Evolving Wilds is okay, though I think Fabled Passage is better. The only difference, if you're curious, is that after you have 4 more lands on the battlefield, the land becomes the battlefield untapped, which I think is a little bit better. We are also adding Pathways because it creates black and white mana, so it's better than playing the tap land. We don't really need snow, so it's not a big deal. I added in 1 copy of Castle Locthwain, just on the ability in the later games we can always draw a card, but we lose life equal to its total, which is not the worst payoff there, but you know, if we don't have any cards in our hand to begin with, we're only losing 1 point of life at a time. So we'll start at the top and work our way to the left, I guess is the best way. So we added in a single copy of Valkyrie Harbinger. It's a 6 mana 4/5 flying lifelinker. At the beginning of each end step, if we gain 4 more life this turn, we get a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying and vigilance. So essentially, if we have a way of gaining life in the early, you know, with other cards, we can start producing our own 4/4 angel tokens, which is pretty cool. We do have some cards that actually will help us gain life that I added into the deck. But 4/5 and that produces tokens is pretty good, I guess. Then we have Angel of Destiny, which is another one of from Zendikar Rise and Mythic. It's a flying double striker. Whenever a creature we control deals combat damage to a player, and you and that player each gain that much life. So this is why we only play a 1 of, because this is like a very weird winning mechanism. So I wouldn't play it in all situations. That's why there's only 1 copy. At the beginning of our end step, if you have at least 15 life or more, then you're starting life total. So if we have 35 life in just a basic standard match, and Angel of Destiny attacked this turn, that player loses the game. So essentially, you know, this is kind of one of our weird ways that if we're starting to get really high in life total, we will just overwhelm our opponent with just, you know, making them gain X amount of life over the course of the game, get back up to 35 life, and then they lose the game because they 15 more life. This has double strike as well, which is also pretty good. So it's going to be doing 4 damage to your opponent if they don't block it. So that's pretty decent there. We got 2 copies of Baneslayer Angel. It's a flying flourish strike lifelinker, protection from dragons and demons. I just think it's pretty good because it's a lifelinker. It's a 5/5. It's flying. It's an angel, so might as well add it into the angel deck. You know, it fits pretty well in this deck overall as a whole. Combine that around the ranks, it could definitely become a pretty decent sized beefy angel that's going to give you a lot of life. Let's see. Here says Retribution. It's a 4 mana saga. The first chapter of the saga, we produce a 4/4 white angel warrior creature token with flying and vigilance. So just another way to get more angels on the battlefield. The second chapter of the saga is until end of turn, angels we control gain tap, destroy target creature with power less than this creature's power. So essentially, all our creatures have a spell that if they, whatever their power is, we can tap them down. We, essentially destroy target creature that's weaker than them. Pretty cool in that way. And then the third one is angels we control gain double strike on the end of turn. So essentially, if we have a decent sized board, it gets to the third chapter, we can swing in the air. All our things at double strike, which makes it definitely very awkward to block, and then we just probably more than likely finish our opponent off right then and there. We added in Righteous Valkyries, 2 copies of 3 mana, 2/4 flyer. Whenever another angel or cleric enters the battlefield under our control, we gain life equal to that creature's toughness. If you haven't noticed, a lot of angels have very big toughnesses, so in a way, we're going to gain a lot of life. Chunks of 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth. And as long as we have 7 more life than I just started on life total, creatures you control get +2/+2. So it actually has a board pump effect as well. If we're at 27 or more life in a basic standard match, so definitely pretty cool in that sense. Then we're also playing Resplendent Marshal, as well in our 3-drop slot Mythic from Kaldheim. Flying 3/3 for 3 mana. When it enters the battlefield or dies, we can exile another creature card from your graveyard. We do get a +1/+1 counter on each creature we control, other than Resplendent Marshal that shares a creature type with the exiled card. Playing Angels, so essentially we're going to exile an Angel card. Give all our Angels +1/+1. Definitely good in that sense. This as well, I think I didn't do the adjustments for the Heartless Axe, so I can cut back, 2 Poison Cup down to 1, Blood Chiefs down to 1, add in 2 copies of Heartless Axe. I think is actually very good to fit in here. Other than that, that's how the deck kind of works. This one is actually pretty cool. So real quick, I actually realized after going through the edit, in the process of editing, that I actually forgot to go over 2 cards. So we are kind of going over 2 cards in the upgraded version of the deck that I forgot to go over. The one thing I added in that I didn't go over was the Legion Angel. It's a 4 mana 4/3. When it enters the battlefield, we reveal a card we own named Legion Angel from outside the game, essentially our sideboard, and we can add it to our hand. So essentially, this is a card that we play 1 of in the deck. We play 3 copies in the sideboard. So when we play it, we can just keep on getting angels from our sideboard, just so we have, things to keep on playing, even if we don't draw very well in that sense. And the other card we added into the deck was Starnheim Unleashed, which is a spell that costs 4 mana. We can essentially play for its sorcery cost, get a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying and vigilance, or we can foretell it, and then we can tap X twice. So essentially, what we can do here is we can tap X for, 2 mana each, so 5 mana in total. Then we get 2 Angel Warrior creature tokens. If we have 7 mana, we can tap it. We can tap each for 3, and then we can get 3 Angel tokens on the battlefield, which is definitely a good way to overwhelm our opponent in that sense. And all the Angel tokens have flying and vigilance, which is also a very good card. So this is where we have 2 copies of that in the deck. So with that being said, back to the end of the video on how it works out. This becomes a little bit more on the life gain. We really only splash black for the removal and some of these other abilities. But overall, I mean, this is my version of the upgraded deck. I always, enjoy if you guys take what I do and then kind of tweak it to what you guys like a little bit better. It's pretty cool. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. If you like the video, guys, it helps out the channel a lot. If you're new here, want to know why I put new videos on the channel, hit that subscribe button. But I'll catch you in the next video.